integration, the problems you have done, then the sums are marked. You can do 2-3 sums. Rest of the sums are on properties. So better you learn these first. Properties of definite integration. Okay. First property is this: a to b fx dx equal to a to b fz dz equal to it is better to say here the conclusion. Definite integration is not dependent on the variable chosen. Whatever variable you have taken, it will give us the same value. This proof I am telling you because you have seen that if fx is equal to ddx of gx, then gx is called primitive. And the fundamental theorem of integral calculus, we have learned this manner: a to b fx dx is equal to gx a to b answer is gb minus ga. Okay. So you can see once, if the variable was t, then also it will be gb minus j. If the variable was j, in place of gx, gz was there, that also will be gb minus j. That's why I told the value of definite integration, is not dependent on the variable chosen. Whatever variable you take, its value will remain the same. Okay. This is the first property. Then second property. If we have a to b fx dx, then this is nothing but minus of b to a fx dx. I mean, if we exchange, this is called reversal property in definite integration. If the order is reversed, then it becomes minus. It was a to b. If you make it b to a, then you put minus sign before. Proof of this also I am going to give you. Then we will see the application. This one, you write it this manner. Let d dx of gx equal to fx. Then you have referred gx as the primitive. So once you get a to b fx dx, the value going to be gx from a to b. Answer is gb minus ga. And then if you calculate the second integrand without minus sign, b to a fx dx, this is also gx from b to a. Answer will be ga minus gb. So you all can see that the difference between these two is a negative sign. That's why we put minus sign before. Okay. A to b fx dx going to be minus b to a fx dx. Then number 3. Zero to a fx dx will be 0 to a f of a minus x dx. Okay. This is the most important property. Probably, I'm saying probably because then you can decide yourself whether this is most important or not. I'll show you many applications based on it. 0 to a fx dx equal to 0 to a f of a minus x dx. I'm proving this. This may come in a board exam also. It came already, but in different form. See how to prove it. We start with the RHS. RHS is put a minus x equal to z. Show minus 3x equal to dz. Dx will be minus dz. So the RHS going to be, another thing, here it will be in terms of z, we must change the limits. When x equal to 0, you put x equal to 0 here, what do you get? This implies z equal to a. When x equal to a, z is going to be 0. So RHS is going to be a to 0 f of a minus x is z, you just substitute there, and dx is minus dz. So this is going to be minus a to 0. What do you observe? There is a negative sign before. And if a negative sign before, I told you, you can change the limits here. So this is going to be 0 to a reversal property, no? 0 to a fz dz. Because minus sign I am absorbing there. And now at the same time, we look at the property number, look back at the property number 1. A to b fx dx is a to b fz dz. So one can say that this is, there is no harm if I put 0 to a fx dx. Okay. So it is proved that 0 to a fx dx equal to 0 to a f of a minus x dx. I got from RHS to LHS. If you intend to prove it from LHS to RHS, definitely you can. Now let us work on these few properties, these three properties first. Learn properties. Now, three properties. Let us evaluate the kind of sum I have said there. We are going to solve it. Just for example, you take example 1. Let us evaluate this thing. Sine cube x by sine cube x 0 to pi by 2. This is not a normal sum. If you say that I do it by using substitution, then you will be wrong. You will never get it by substitution. This you have to use property. Say how I am going to apply property to simplify it. It will, for me, it will take 4 steps only. Okay? You can solve it in 3 steps after learning it. So, whenever you are going to solve this kind of sum, you assume that let I equal to this thing. Why? There is a definite reason, and the property will be in your mind. 0 to a fx dx is 0 to a f of a minus x dx. What is a here? It is pi by 2, all of you can see. 0 to a f of a minus x, this I can get from there. So you write this as, or I equal to 0 to pi by 2 sine cube pi by 2 minus x by sine cube pi by 2 minus x cos cube pi by 2 minus x. I think all of you understand, because the property I told you to keep in your mind that 0 to a fx dx is 0 to a f of a minus x dx. See what happened there by writing this. It is changed to 0 to pi by 2. Sine pi by 2 minus x is cos x. So there will be cos x by cos cube x plus sine cube x dx. Now treat this one as number 1. Treat this equation as number 2. Now I am going to add 1 and 2. See what a fun you are going to see over there, adding 1 and 2. Just to adding 1 and 2. What happens, you see? I plus I is going to be 0 to pi by 2 sine cube x by sine cube x. See what do you get? 0 to pi by 2 dx only, because numerator and denominator fully cancelled. This integration will give you x, that is nothing but pi by 2. So, which you were saying impossible, it is possible by the use of property here. See how nice application is there of the property you have just learned, which is quite impossible by using indefinite integration method or by fundamental theorem alone, can be done, can be simplified with the help of this thing. Now I am going to ask you one similar sum. I don't mind if any one of you solving before I do here. This is I equal to 0 to pi by 2 sin x minus cos x by 1 plus sin x. Try to get it before I start. By using the third property only, that 0 to a fx dx equal to 0 to a f of a minus x dx. 0 to pi by 2 sin x minus cos x. Always you take this form. In most of the sums, third property will be there. And after the first step, we are going to add two equations. Always I plus I. See, let me use the property here. Or I is going to be equal to sin pi by 2 minus x. All these will be changed to a minus x. Sin pi by 2 minus x will be cos x minus sin x divided by 1 plus cos x. Therefore, I plus I going to be 0 to pi by 2 sin x minus cos x plus this divided by, see the fun at this step. Mathematics is always fun. So you can enjoy fun a lot by doing this sum. See, these two are getting cancelled. Okay? We all are fond of zeros. Denominator is coming 0. 1 plus sin x cos x. This is 0 only. So we got 2i equal to 0. This implies I equal to 0. It is better you go for problem number 3 of similar kind. That is, say, root sin x by root cos x plus root sin x. Similar problem, everyone can do it. You must try if you have learned a bit of the property number 3, that 0 to a fx dx is 0 to a f of a minus x dx. So here again the same manner you assume, let I equal to root sin x by root sin x plus cos x. Now this implies by property 3 I equal to root over cos x by that pi by 2 minus x. Oh sorry, I forgot to put the limit. It is definite integration, definite limit should be there. Root cos x plus by root cos x plus root sin x dx. Then this is your number 1, number 2. Add these two. Adding 1 and 2 you get I plus I. You can add simply because the denominator is the same. Numerator also going to be the same. Normally it happens for this kind of sum. Root sin x plus root cos x dx. Answer is 0 to pi by 2 dx only. So this implies 2i equal to pi by 2. So I is equal to pi by 4. Now let us know the fourth property. This is property 4. This also very useful property. Very useful property. I am telling you, because many sums can be solved this manner. This is just a brief introduction before you learn this property, that in definite integration you must have seen that a to b fx dx is nothing but a summation. If anyone has the logic that in between a point c is there, can't I say that a to b fx dx is a to c fx dx plus c to b fx dx? A to b, this whole thing sum if you want to do, that will be sum from a to c plus sum from c to b. It's very easy to understand. So based on this, there is a property which is property 4, that a to b fx dx, if c is a point in between a and b, this is going to be a to c fx dx plus c to b fx dx. Okay. Now, see the application of it. Just a very good application is there. When you are going to integrate this problem, minus 2 to 1 mod x dx. This sum we cannot do it by indefinite integration concept. Okay. And by using fundamental theorem of integral calculus, because here there are two functions in two different domain of definitions. That is mod x is x, you know, when x greater than or equal to 0, and minus x when x less than 0. Your splitting of the interval will be in accordance with this observation. Just before 0, it is negative. So if anybody want to write it in this manner, minus 2 to 0 mod x dx, then it will be justified, because before 0 it has one kind, one branch. After 0 there is another branch. So splitting point will be 0 only. Then you'll put minus 2 to 0. Before that it was minus x. See the definition, less than 0 it is minus x. And after this it will be 0 to 1 x dx. So this will be minus x square by 2 minus 2 to 0 x square by 2 0 to 1. Here this is 2. Here this is half. So this is going to be 5 by 2. The answer is going to be 5 by 2. Okay.